got, two players here. You've got one where nosfa's gonna have to gather his thoughts and correct all the mistakes he's made over the last 2 weeks, and you've got dramiS, who's just been, highly consistent across the board, really showing that, all the improvements they've made have now become intuition and actually becoming consistent now, and we're gonna see if he can continue doing that as we're gonna start off from dramiS's POV.
Well, starting off, we'll see how wrong I am because I have been most of my life. dramiS with the Strogg, Peeker already deployed and used, but no real damage here. As nosfa is absolutely monstrous at Awoken. We've seen countless overtimes that go 3-4 minutes in and nosfa pulls it out. So right off the bat, I could be wrong here as the game from both players very slow, but there's the perfect combination from nosfa. Absolutely explosive to get the first frag.
This is the style of play we expected from nosfa for a while now, and it looks like he's bringing it to the table straight away. Down below at the moment, just see if he can get a rail as he goes across Mega. Doesn't hit it, but as you can see, items perfectly timed, so could potentially be a gentleman's agreement, depending on how dramiS wants to try and approach it, but he knows that nosfa's just standing by, holding top mid. He's actually decided to go for the heavy anyway, so it looks like they're going to go back and forth, and you can see already dramiS, oh, that rocket just barely missed him, but that one will hit, will do a little bit of damage, and again, nosfa just having to back away. That hit rail would have made dividends if he was able to hit it off, but sadly does not. But the stacks are going to be equal. dramiS with that top mid position hits the Ranger, standing a little bit here. I think a little bit of a shaky moment, hits the first rail, but dramiS does come out on top in that little scuffle. Strange.
Something went horribly wrong, and I'm not sure what it was, but I'm sure that dramiS is very happy about it as he uses that to his advantage to tie it 1-1. The boomstick for nosfa not quite landing the damage from far away. Able to chunk down dramiS a little bit. He goes back for more, but dramiS is ready with the rail, going up 2-1.
I do agree with dramiS's weapon selection, having that with a shotgun, but had to try and get enough damage. He was close enough range to be able to take him down, but sadly he could not finish him off. But just one of those things, still got plenty more opportunities here. Good first rocket, good rail to boot straight afterwards, and dramiS now increases lead 3-1.
And just unfortunate circumstance for nosfa on that flub in the T-Con area. Whatever happened, that's costed him, and now he's slowing it down, trying to get back into it. As we were all even before that here. Grabbing a railgun, now he might play a little bit more passive, try and chip away from a distance as he is missing out on the items, trying to line it up. Almost had a great idea of where he is. Rockets now as dramiS has the superior positioning on top of the stairs. 2 rockets takes him out. dramiS firmly on top by 3.
I love that from dramiS as well. He could have gone for the light just to eat up the armors, but instead he left it there just to make nosfa think he wasn't even anywhere near that area at all, but we know how strong top mid can be as he's going to try and orb onto it, but does get taken down again. dramiS up 5-1, picks up the Mega, going to pick up the light shortly as well on the LG, realises it's not there, so he's just going to be on standby again. Picks up the light from top mid, and Heavy's going to be up in the next 7 seconds. Just trying to get information on where nosfa could be. Realises where he is now, but he's in a good spot to try and fight this if he can. But because of that missed rail, that could cost nosfa here, and it has done 6-1. And it's just been past the 3-minute mark.
So much damage off the spawn. Here comes the push with the LG swap to rocket, and the shotgun to end it 7-1 in favor of dramiS. And yeah, it's all gone horribly wrong after that T-Con issue here. Lethal has 6 frags for dramiS. Ooh, misses the jump, and actually that's fortunate. He would have ate a whole bunch of rocket damage, and he still might as nosfa goes in. No fear, and he's able to take that frag, and that's the aggression I want to see. More of that. 7-2 from nosfa as he's fighting back.
Yeah, we saw that right at the very beginning, and it's like you said, we need to see a little bit more from nosfa if we can. 4 minutes about to pass. Mega is up, will be collected, and this is the time for nosfa to get full map control and try and establish that as soon as possible, and he will do once this Heavy appears as he goes to contest it. 4 seconds left though, as he needs to try and push that Heavy as soon as possible, but the problem is he's now even up the stacks. That was a great rocket to rail there from dramiS, left on 19 HP. Doesn't get the Heavy, does manage to burn it, but it does mean for dramiS though, gives him time to try and get that top mid control and decide how nosfa's going to go about going for the Mega. Just going to dive straight in with the LG. Gets a little bit of damage done, but nosfa does not go for the bait for those rockets. dramiS needs to get himself out of it, and will he be able to though? Looks like he does for the time being.
nosfa almost executed that perfectly, waiting to pick up the Mega middle of the fight, but just couldn't get the damage he needed. But now, after all of that, he's evened it out. He should be able to get this heavy, but at what cost? As dramiS goes in, but he's running on his head, and he gets a buckshot up the butt. Lethal, 8-3. nosfa still fighting back, a little bit hurt here, as he makes his way back to the LG to re-up on cells, and just misses out on dramiS. But 5 minutes in, down 5, I mean, nosfa's not out of this one yet, not by a long shot, Lethal.
No, with his style of play, definitely isn't at all. A little bit unfortunate just dancing around on his head for those last couple of seconds before getting cleaned up there. You could tell he wasn't really expecting it, and to be fair, who would at that point? 9 HP, nosfa needs to try and just do what he can, but he's actually decides to drop down. He's actually done a lot. Surely he can't win this. No, he does not, but that was really close.
And the boy almost made magic out of that, Lethal. That was very, very close. And again, these are the glimpses of nosfa where you're like, oh, 6 frags? It could totally happen. dramiS coming in like a wrecking ball, taking a lot of machine gun damage. Good rail on the way out to make it a little bit worth it. Now nosfa stuck! Goes for that armor, and it was an oasis as dramiS plants him with a railgun shot. 10-3. dramiS firmly in the lead now. Good rocket from nosfa. The follow-up, fantastic! 2 big ones, Lethal.
nosfa's rocket game has definitely been strong, but the problem is the scoreline doesn't change that at all. 10-4. Good job taking down a peak in an instant. It's now nosfa now just trying to calm things down a little bit here. 4 minutes left, but he can't really afford to be doing that at all in the slightest. He needs to get full item control and just try and be careful with these defensive rockets of dramiS as dramiS just dive down, decides to get away. But can he take him down? Yes, he does. Great rail from nosfa, and now he's going to be able to try and do a little bit more to dramiS if he can. But the problem is he has left that heavy sitting there. But we have to understand it from nosfa's point of view is the fact that, you know, going to the LG room, he's going to be perfectly fine. He can pick up heavy straight afterwards. Anyway, LG battle comes out. nosfa needs to win that. Decides not to carry it through. Pika comes out. Yes, he misses it. And dramiS is going to take him down just like that and gets the Mega to boot.
Oh, poor nosfa. He just wanted to slap the peeker away, but it ended up in his face, and dramiS with a big play right there. Both players were so extremely weak, and nosfa couldn't get away. Just missing out on that rail through the telly. That would have been big here. 6 frag deficit. And again, I still believe. I know that I predicted a 3-0 for dramiS, but just watching nosfa play, you're like, he could just explode at any minute and go on a rampage here. And we're just waiting for it. There's a great rail around the corner here, forcing dramiS out of the LG area. dramiS trying to make his move, sliding around with that Strog and just trying to avoid more damage. And there's a great play from nosfa. Good cutoff, and just can't get it. How is dramiS alive?
This is what I'm talking about, man. Like, literally, his defensive rockets have been top-notch so far. This is a good example of it again, but a little bit more aggression coming out. nosfa does get the rail. 2 minutes 20 left. Needs to find 5 frags. But the problem for nosfa now is the fact that once he's got full item control and a great stack, he can't really take too much damage after each engagement if he wants to keep dramiS on spot.
Big rail from nosfa there. And yeah, I mean, dramiS at the very least doing enough damage to make sure that nosfa doesn't go on a bit of a run, which is exactly what he needs with 2 minutes. A little bit of rocket damage. Going up the jump pad is going to be a death sentence, so he opts not to do it, instead giving up the Mega. Hits a rail, but it was previous to the pickup, so not a big deal for dramiS as he's looking good to potentially close this out. Less than 2 minutes, 5 frags. It's going to take a miracle, but maybe nosfa is the man for the job.
He could be. The only problem is for him is dramiS's mobility when having to get away as he sees fit and just to try and to delay things further in order to secure his first map victory. And he slid out of that one, but will he be able to do any more? No, he does not. He hasn't got any rockets either, so he's going to have to stick with the LG and the rail to see if he can try and clean this up. But again, the defensive rails, the defensive rockets just doing absolute work to make sure nosfa doesn't have any chance or any hope to come back in this matchup, and it's looking that way at the moment. 5 frags in a minute 10. It's not as doable as we once thought here, 40, but in the end, no, nosfa trying to do a great job of a comeback, but once more, the mobility of the dramiS is going to be a bit too much here for nosfa.
nosfa, you haven't had rockets in like a minute and a half, please. He just keeps switching to the rocket launcher and making me aggressively nervous. There's a good railgun, and no, he dire orbs into the floor. He misses with the follow-up railgun up close, trying to end it with the shotgun, and he does. 7 HP, hanging by a thread. Still no rockets. nosfa, please, I beg of you.
He's taken a leaf out of Maxter's book. Maxter always had a huge issue with ammo management, especially against Rafa quite a while ago, but yeah, that's not something you want to try and mimic at all in the slightest, but nosfa's just going to try and charge in and challenge, and do you know what, why not? There's not really anything you can do here. 20 seconds left, picks up the Mega, and it's just pretty much a matter of time here, as dramiS is going to be pretty pleased with himself with his first map victory, and he had a commanding start as well, considering the way he was playing this out. But we'll win it by 3 frags, as nosfa now needs to try and bring it back in these next 2 games. But it's going to be tough though for him. It really is. I don't think nosfa wants another series loss. It will be his 3rd loss in the row here in the Quake Pro League if he does lose this next one.
A little bit rough near the end. I think nosfa was just like, you know what, I don't care about these rockets, but he just kept switching to the rocket launcher and clicking, and it hurts my heart ever since Tox. We miss him all, but those clicks just hurt lethal. But yeah, dramiS able to take map number 1. I still feel like it was close. Even the scoreline, even the way that it ended, I still feel like nosfa has something in the tank, especially for map 2 and 3. But yeah, shouts to dramiS. Strong play. And again, after that Razy victory and just everything, I mean, he knows how good he is. He knows, but he's just having everybody little by little, week by week, put more and more respect on his name. And it's great to see.
Yeah, 56% rail for dramiS, and he did nearly 2,300 damage with the rockets. Like, that's just absurd. Don't get me wrong, like, you know, with how he was playing and how he was doing things, it was just both aggression and the defensive rockets was just absolutely key here for dramiS, and especially the defensive one. The amount of times that nosfa had a big stack or a decent-ish stack in order to take an engagement, dramiS was always in the position, close quarters, or at least to a choke point to really do enough damage for onto nosfa to make sure he can try and secure like an item, or maybe try and secure a frag. We saw it time and time again, BC, in terms of the stats, and we'll have to see exactly what else he can do here, but needs to be really cautious on what is going to happen. But going into the next game now, which will be on Ruins, it will be the Sorlag versus the Slash, and this is going to be a fast-paced one. You said you wanted a bloodbath. I think this could be the one.
I hope so. I really hope so. I'm interested to see how dramiS approaches the game with the Slash going into the Sorlag. Again, very dangerous, especially off respawns, but, you know, dramiS, he's had a little something for everybody, so it's going to be a treat to see him on Slash. We don't usually get to see it, so very exciting nonetheless to see it on Ruins, and we're going to be loading up shortly here. So very, very excited. I think nosfa could probably take this one, though. I feel like the stack is in his advantage. Again, he could take more of those risks that we are used to seeing nosfa take, given the stack, especially if he gets in on some of the items, heavies, megas. So yeah, bloodbath, like you said, please. May the Quake gods bless us on this map, Lethal.
Yeah, I hope so too, and I think we are going to get it. I think it depends on the circumstances. I do feel like it's going to be more rail heavy, especially on dramiS' side. He's going to play this how he normally plays Molten Falls, keep his distance, get a couple of rails in, contest the items if he can, and he's going to have to be very careful with the heavy, especially with the Slash. We know how squashy she can be, especially on spawn, and it's going to really be a way of how dramiS can contribute himself in terms of getting that damage done before making some of these engagements, and it's going to be very, very tough indeed. But we know how good he is on the Slash. We like his slightly champions, any kind of mobility he always takes advantage of. And nosfa, we saw some elements of greatness here and there with his aggression, but not enough to really turn the tide here, and he did try and make it work. But the problem is dramiS' defensive rockets, or the position, especially the positional advantage he had time and time again, just making huge amount of work here. The only thing which dramiS needs to do now is to make sure to cover those choke points for the Mega, make sure he gets there early enough for the heavy so the Slash can't just dive on in to really make something work or make something happen here. We'll have to see though, as we're going to go into our second map between these two Titans, and it's looking very good for dramiS already. It's just a matter of how nosfa can try and claw back these next 2 maps, and can he do it? We'll find out now. It's dramiS. We're going to start from his POV as he picks up the Mega straight away.
Mega straight away, sliding around everywhere, high flying action coming at us on map number 2, and shouts to everyone in the chat. I apologize, I don't have the ability to do anything about predictions, all right? I have too many responsibilities that I'm bad at already, chat, give me a break. As nosfa waiting for potential rail here. As spit, shotgun, deadly combo, especially against the light, but he misses the layup. The movement just too quick. Does get the clean heavy, but dramiS was in and out of there, free railgun, and that could be disastrous for nosfa, depending on how dramiS wants to approach this. The hit and run with Slash is extremely easy given her movement, but nosfa, I think he just got 2 items for free, Lethal. Look at that stack.
That's right, nosfa's looking very beefy at the moment, and he's made the right route to take. It's just a matter of if he can be able to stay alive. dramiS is looking to see if he can clean him up. He cannot. And fair play to dramiS. nosfa took a lot of damage, but the problem is he's picked up the heavy at the same time, and I'm not going to lie to you. dramiS was so close on both occasions. He was hoping to try and at least, one way or another, try and go for the trade. But after picking up the heavy, maybe he should have just left it and just moved on, picked up the light, and just gone elsewhere to work on the weapons in his arsenal. But nosfa, 31 HP. dramiS can smell blood in the water, looking to see if he can try and take him down, but decides to stand his ground, back away, and see if he can get him another angle.
That's exactly what dramiS has to do, keep the pressure up, and almost paid off for him. But giving Sorlag any time to stack back up, and especially getting the majors, is going to be painful, and there's a big rocket into the spit. Bad position here for dramiS as he's stuck trying to fight for this mega. Goes down to grab a 25 and gets out of there. But again, nosfa just really good at controlling the items, keeping that stack huge, and making sure that dramiS can't do any shenanigans off a potential frag to refrag. And that's going to be the biggest killer here, is the fact that dramiS can't just push in unless he does big damage and actually take down nosfa.
A lot from nosfa as well. He's trying to be as silent as possible, silent but violent, but just not going to happen here, as dramiS isn't going to fall for that at all. And the Sliders decided to play it safe and just go on the high ground to contest the mega. And the items are segregated, so it does mean that nosfa can just continue to keep control. As long as he doesn't take too much damage between now and the next heavy pickup will be in the next 10 seconds. nosfa's just trying to see exactly where dramiS is going to go, feed himself some information. But look at that. dramiS is already down below. He's probably assuming that he may go up to rockets. But instead, nosfa does have an inkling in his loins that dramiS is probably going to be down there, but decides to go for the mega instead. And look like it's going to get a good control of the choke point. dramiS just comes in deep as anything to make sure to try and clean out. Great stuff for LG to rocket combo. That was brilliant from nosfa. Misses the spawn rail, but then again, we'll have to see exactly what path dramiS is going to take. If he hit that rail, that definitely would have been curtains again for nosfa.
And I love that play. I love that play from dramiS, because he came in like an absolute psycho, keeping it 100, but he gets mobbed by nosfa, unfortunately. And we're going to see more risks from dramiS like that. The snail trail not doing enough damage, in his opinion, I'm sure, as the mega pickup went to nosfa. And again, another mega pickup. No damage from dramiS here. A little bit of LG on the way out. Misses with the rail, and again, he's stuck in this awful position right now, Lethal. The stack just is not going dramiS's way, and he can't chain together this damage at a distance to even push in to try and finish it, as high flying right past each other. nosfa, though, firmly in the lead with 3. No signs of stopping. This may be his map. dramiS has to switch it up a little bit and start hitting some rails and just get more damage in before he can push in and get those frags he wants. This is a good opportunity here, but the spit to counteract the snail trail. dramiS using the mega in the middle of the fight. Well done to dramiS, and that's the first frag for him.
Well, you wanted a bloodbath for it, and you're absolutely getting it here. And, you know, we've got to talk about nosfa's position there as well. We know how hard it is to strafe on a staircase like that. I think he kind of felt uncomfortable in that position and decided he had to do what he can, you know, in terms of, like, best out of a bad situation. But dramiS does pick up the heavy to even the stacks. Has to take that first rail, though. Mega's up in the next few seconds, and looks like dramiS isn't be able to get there in the nick of time, but is ready for heavy. But the problem is, though, heavy's not going to be up for a while, as mega's been left there for quite a considerable amount of time. Finally gets picked up, but nosfa's probably delaying the item on purpose just so that he can pick up both items, or at least contest both items, to make dramiS's life even worse here. Using that trail again to do a lot of damage there, looking to get a little bit more done, but the suicide comes out. Does pick up the heavy, and there we have it, our halfway stage, and nosfa's only up 2-1.
Oh, that's brutal, but again, look at this. Okay, big rockets to defend himself off the respawn, and that's exactly what dramiS needed to do. Ties it at 2, especially off the back of that self-frag from nosfa. nosfa with a nail gun and nothing else, and this has all gone horribly wrong as dramiS takes the lead, but he's so extremely weak, and again, this is the pain point for a light champion. nosfa can just fly in with a machine gun and take that right before the heavy. Woo!
This is like a street fight at the moment, back and forth,
so
trading constantly. I know you. You've been waiting for this all day, and you know, finally we get it in the second series, and I don't think it's gonna any signs of stopping at all in the Sliders. It might do now because dramiS hasn't got any armor to his name, and he needs to start thinking about how to at least approach this heavy or try and eat up the lights in the meantime. But you can see there already just trying to bait out the rockets from nosfa to see if it's down there, gets the information he needs. But nosfa, though, looking really strong. Only up by 1 frag, though. We have to see how dramiS can try and chip away at the beefy Sorlag.
real thick and girthy. Down one. Does grab the light in the courtyard here. Does have Snail Trail as well. Spit is down for another about 15 seconds for nosfa. If dramiS is keeping tabs on that, I'm sure that affects whether or not he goes in right now. Just trying to position at the rail, make sure maybe get some chip damage. But right now the positioning on the Mega going to be a little bit early. nosfa can fly in from any direction he wants. 10 seconds until the pickup. dramiS trying to defend this T-Con. Barely hears him behind him in the nick of time here, and the Snail Trail comes out just for defense, but 12 HP. dramiS has to run.
Yeah, dramiS was completely caught off guard. He had his back turned at the time. He's, in all fairness, very lucky to be able to get away with his life. If he walks in, he's going to walk into the spit, and he has done. That was a fantastic plan of action there. Nice little trap there from nosfa. People will say, you know, it's common sense really to do that just to block him off, but in all fairness, I don't think he expected dramiS to go for that. But dramiS, of course, didn't know that the spit was going to be outside that telly straight away. But nosfa now looking very, very strong. dramiS does pick up the light, but at the end of the day, the stack difference is monumental. 2 minutes 45 left. Still a bit of time, as of course dramiS has a little bit more mobility compared to nosfa to try and bring this back, but he needs to chip away. He needs to get something done now, because for nosfa it probably feels like 2.5 minutes is going to be a lifetime, but for dramiS the clock is going to be ticking so fast for him and in his eyes, as now he needs to try and get a bit of real damage, or at least contest his items a little bit better than he has done over the last 5 minutes.
2:20 on the board. Time keeps on slipping. Lethal, as dramiS has to find a way to get back into this one. nosfa with yet another mega pickup. Keeping store lag so thick. Has the spit in hand, and there it is, preemptive on the pickup. There's the Snail Trail from dramiS trying to get something going, but instead goes straight into another railgun, even though he gets the heavy. And nosfa should be able to get away with this one. 2 minutes left, up 3, and again, just so tanky. dramiS not getting the distance damage that he needs to try and move in and make something happen, and now his hand is forced. He just has to go all out for the last 2 minutes here.
That could be the winning frag, and I think that's definitely going to confirm it, picking up the Mega. And I like how nosfa's playing, even with his huge stack. He knows that he can't win this matchup by 2-3 frags. He makes sure to make the most out of his stack, and if something bad does happen, worst comes to worst, then he can start playing passive, start playing the defensive rockets and the defensive rails, making sure to cut him off at any choke points so he can trade him out straight afterwards, especially with the starting stack of the Sorlag. A minute 20 left though. dramiS is going to have to play that desperation game here, put himself in scenarios he does not want to place himself in, but at this stage here, nosfa's doing exactly what needs to be done, using the spit to make sure that for dramiS, there's not really many areas or places he can go without taking any damage. Trying to use his defensive rockets to good use, doesn't, but he's picking up the heavies. So small window of opportunity here for dramiS, but needs to get it done quick.
Oh, sneaky nosfa. Does get caught out at the last minute here, but now still needs to hunt and chip down this giant dinosaur here. As for those playing the home version, this one is on nosfa's server, if that affects how you feel about anything going on right now. The first map was on dramiS' server, so dramiS with another frag. 40 seconds left, does hit a rail, and this is actually getting a little bit dangerous. There's the rocket jump up, nosfa's going to commit and somehow makes it happen. The spit machine gun up close melts dramiS, and that one should seal it. But man, if that went dramiS' way, we could have a whole different ballgame on our hands.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. If he didn't pick up that Mega, then the story could have been totally different, a complete role reversal potentially. But it's like I said, with the starting stack of the Sorlag, it's very, very tough. Again, trap him in a choke point. That's going to be G. 9-5 in favour of nosfa. So for we've got a bloodbath. He managed to bring it back. It's going to be 1 apiece. So we're not going to see the 3-0 from dramiS, as you optimistically said. But you never know.
Bad.
dramiS could... No, it's all your fault, mate. Unbelievable.
Yeah, Caster's Curse, that one's on me. I owe that man a Pepsi. But well done to nosfa to tie it to 1. We're going to go to map number 3 as the decider for the set. And as a reminder, it's going to be Vale, DK versus Galena. In terms of the matchup, DK versus Galena, how do you feel about it on Vale specifically, Lethal?
It's going to be a tough one. It's like I mentioned before, we're not going to see too much what we're normally used to, but in the end we'll have to see exactly what's going to occur here, because, sorry, the champion picks were, oh yeah, Galena and the DK, yeah. So not something we normally see. Like DK, we've seen him like now and again. Galena we see quite a lot to counter maybe the Eisen, stop him from like holding top mid or at least the mega area. And it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to approach with the Death Knight. We're looking for a lot of aggression, I would say, compared to the Galena, where he's going to hide a lot of the totems, especially around that rail area. And that's going to force him to have to push on a lot. But let's be real, he's going to be aggressive with the Death Knight anyway, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, just the burst potential is huge. I'm interested to see what the Galena setup's going to be from nosfa. I mean, time and time again, we see usually totems at the jump pad, also the mega telly exit. But hiding him around the rail, as you said, to try and actually get that overstack going is going to be huge. So trying to figure out exactly where nosfa might hide some of the totems. But as we take a look at the highlights here, that last skirmish, unfortunate for dramiS. Could have been a lot different, but 9-5 is going to seal it for nosfa. Map number 2, tied 1 apiece as we go into the deciding map of Vale. You love to see it, Lethal.
Certainly do. And Vale, we thought that last one's a bloodbath. I think this could be equally, if not more, depending on how these two are going to approach right at the very get-go. I think both players at the start are going to kind of feel each other out, decide exactly how they're going to come at each other in terms of contesting some of the items, and depending on who gets what at the very beginning, especially going for the rockets at the start. But yeah, you can see here 11-8 in favour of dramiS at the start, and then the second map it was going to be for nosfa. But the third one, honestly, it's anyone's guess. And I don't know who it was who banned the scale, but we can see that whoever it was did not want to play a part of it at all, because we know how scary the scale can be on Vale. We've seen it time and time again, a real nuisance, especially with that bull rush on numerous different areas. The map's just way too small for anyone to try and at least contend with the scale, especially with some of the items.
I'm again extremely sad at the Keel ban, but it doesn't matter what I want. It matters what chat wants and what happens on the server. So nosfa versus dramiS shortly, but yeah, we won't see scale. I'm sure DJ Weed is popping a bottle because he's extremely excited about not seeing him. I don't understand the scale hate, but it's fine. We can talk to him later. As always, Weed will be on for the last 2 featured matches of the day. But for now, we're going to circle back up and get into dramiS versus nosfa map number 3, the decider between these two. And as you said, I hope it's just explosive. That's all I want. I would like to see a 20-21, 35-minute overtime game on Vale, but I'm a dreamer, Lethal. You know, I'm a dreamer. I don't know.
I know you are. I know. We're going to see it. When you've got a Galena in play, it forces your opponent to, be on their toes consistently, just to put themselves in situations they don't really want to put themselves in. But you have no choice at the end of the day. You have no choice at all whatsoever. And this is why I was saying that this should be equally as aggressive. Of course, we don't have the mobility factor in here, but, Vale's like, it's a small map. The verticality is so important. It's all about who's going to get that top control at the start, and especially for the Rockets, it could be an absolute slugfest here between the two. But I do like the Death Knight pick. We see it now and again, considering what's been banned going into this matchup. But I'm glad we're not seeing a scale. I'm glad we're seeing something a little bit off meta going into this third map. But let's see who's going to get all the marbles here. Is it going to be dramiS or nosfa? Third and final map of the series. Currently 1 apiece between the two, and we're going to start from dramiS's POV, not mucking around. Decided to pick up the Mega and the Light straight away, and then now it's going to go for those rockets.
And I'm sure that he's going to play a little bit defensive around these rockets. The Thunderdome, absolutely terrifying, especially going against rockets and a Flame Strike. So nosfa has to be very careful and calculate when he can get rockets safely. And this isn't it, as he drops right into the fire and flame, somehow still hitting rails, but he's ticking away. He needs to try and grab health, somehow hits another rail, and he hits another one. nosfa's absolutely insane.
What am I watching? That was... I didn't... At the start, I was thinking to myself, they'll just feel each other out a little bit, but no, they're having none of that at all. In the slightest. The totems are going to come up again, and good positioning as well. Now the problem is, if nosfa wants to keep those totems up, he needs to stay in this area to then, of course, get the overstack and then be able to grab that heavy. Then he can free roam to do exactly what he wants at all. And looking at back and forth with these rockets, beautiful again from nosfa, adding another one to the tally. It's only been 1 minute, but I kind of feel like we've already done an entire map here. It's ridiculous.
I'm still catching my breath from that first frag of nosfa, and I think nosfa heard what I said with my prediction, and he took that personally, as he should. Up 2-0, still a lot of game left, but quite the start from nosfa here as he gets a little bit of chip damage. That's going to give him info as to where dramiS might be, but the items are very synced up, so it's a matter of where nosfa wants to go. As stacks seem to be about even after that light pickup, so it's really up to nosfa to dictate where he wants to go. It looks like dramiS is firmly planting his flag on the heavy, and nosfa, just peeking over the edge just to get the info. And it looks like items will be split once again and still in sync.
Certainly is RVLG from nosfa here, and the rocket as well, just to make matters worse. Already 2 minutes in, and dramiS needs to find an opening in some way, because at this point in time, in terms of combat skills, nosfa's been winning it each and every single time. And we expected this, didn't we, from nosfa? This is what we wanted from the get-go, from the very first map. We saw flares of it here and there, but now we're seeing peak nosfa now. Just going straight in, not really caring about how predictable he's going to be going for that telly. He knows he can risk it. He knows he can at least try and go for it. Good rockets from dramiS. Will he be able to finish the job? No, he does not. 40 HP he was left on, looking for dramiS on spawn, but he realizes that, yeah, there's no chance, but he still manages to hit it.
Crazy rails from nosfa here, and I'm not sure why dramiS switched off rockets in the Thunderdome. Maybe he ran out, but the switch to LG is really what cost him, as nosfa, you mentioned, was so weak. Good rail from dramiS there as he sends nosfa packing up the jump pad, but nosfa has a mega to his back. Again, items still synced up, and a little bit of rocket damage from nosfa giving him the information, and he still has a totem in the pocket as well. And another, oh, that would have been such a beautiful read. dramiS stuck in a terrible way. Flame strikes his way out. No real damage. A little bit of rocket damage from underneath. Big dunks from nosfa here. And a big rail as well, and nosfa really taking over. But again, the items being so close in sync is the only saving grace for dramiS. He has to just pray to stay away from nosfa and try and snake away one of these items to keep in it.
nosfa's been so aggressive. He doesn't really care how predictable he's being against dramiS. But at the same time, this is where dramiS is probably second-guessing himself and not making his assumptions of how nosfa's going to play. But nosfa probably feels like this is the only option he has in order to continue on with the pressure. We know what Veil can be like. Done a tickle of damage again around the shoddy ramp, but nosfa's just biding his time now, just waiting to see if dramiS goes for the TP, which he will not. We'll find him down below. Sadly, that rocket just missed by the tiniest of margins, but again, nosfa just trying to hold that high ground, waiting for the next mega. Will be coming up in the next couple of seconds. Both items are almost in sync, only by a couple of seconds here, which does mean that neither player is going to get full control of the items as of yet, but I think it will happen at some stage in the next couple of minutes, depending on how nosfa's going to play this. And you see here, dramiS is looking to find out if nosfa's out of position, but he's been hanging around this area for a long time. As he goes for the telly with his back turned, and dramiS now looking to try and take advantage of that. But sadly, he does not. But he's done a fair amount of damage in order to try and push on forward. And it's backed away again. Great rail from dramiS.
Ooh, and I love this push into the flame strike, and this could take full control of the map. And oh, he still gets the heavy. nosfa, that's as best as he could have done there with all of that damage. But now this adds a split to the items, Lethal. So this is in dramiS's favor. A little bit of rocket damage as well for info, but not good for nosfa here as he's backing up, hitting at least one rail. Tri-bolt, well placed, just out of reach. dramiS hunting right now, trying to get this third frag.
I like the patience from dramiS earlier on in that previous frag. He just knew that as he was burning, the only health bubble available was bottom mid, and he saw from there was nothing he could have done. dramiS just had to sit there, bide his time, and wait for him to drop on down, and he did exactly that. Good rockets again from dramiS. I can't believe the comeback we're seeing at the moment. He could just dive straight in at this stage to try and stop from getting the mega. He does at least pick it up and manages to burn it, but nosfa still comes back with a retaliation rail. Hits the first one straight after it's on the spawn. So desperate, looking for the second, misses it. And that could have been a huge dire consequences for dramiS if he did take that last shot.
60% rail from dramiS, and it shows. Or excuse me, from nosfa, and it shows as he's stringing them together just when he needs them. Up 2 frags. Trying to defend this mega from an odd position, and they fight in the air, and the rockets will take him out. And a casual totem placement there as nosfa, just cool, calm, and collected, knows that he can mitigate the fire damage, and he's up 3, looking so strong, Lethal.
4 minutes left, and neither player's letting down at all in the slightest. It's nosfa now. Didn't really have a read on his opponent. He does now, though, as he picks up the heavy, hits the first rail. That's going to be this cue for him to come on in and try and finish the job, but it's taken way too much damage, a lot more than we, again, anticipated, as both players has backed away. But now, though, nosfa's picked up the next mega. Heavy will be up in the next 12 seconds. So matter if nosfa wants to go for the kill or at least wants to try and contest the heavy. He wants to do a bit of both, I think. But looking to see exactly how dramiS is going to approach this. It's backing away. It's actually going to go straight back through the TP. And dramiS realizes that it's probably going to have the high ground. Been tickled again by that last rocket. Just going to dive straight in here. Oh, the rocket
God.
straight afterwards. And he picks up the heavy. Lovely.
Oh, and just when you think dramiS might have a glimmer of hope, nosfa takes it away. Beautiful rocket right to the face to deny that heavy pickup. And again, just dropping rocket damage, taking so much. dramiS hanging by a thread, maybe 225s to work with, but nosfa has to know exactly where he is with the pinpoint precision But he's just going to play around the items here, positioning for heavy. He knows he has a 4-frag lead. He knows there's less than 3 minutes. And everything looks to be in nosfa's favor here. dramiS needs some big damage, and instead he takes big damage. There's the flame strike. It's not going to land as he thought. nosfa was going to fall down into the flames. And it's the nosfa show. 5-frag lead. And I guess we're seeing lightning in a bottle, Lethal. This is it. He popped it.
Yeah, he certainly has. He's only done 150 damage overall, but the rail percentage is 62%, and it's not like he's fired 12 or 13 shots. He's fired 27 shots and hit 62%. No wonder dramiS feels like he's running out of ways to get back into this matchup. He was looking really solid like around the 3-4 minute mark, but now things have changed drastically once again, and he could have his overstack just to make nosfa a little bit more healthy going in, but it doesn't really need to worry about his HP at the moment. Picks up the Mega, and he can just stand his ground now. But we'll take that flame strikes, and he 10 HP. He will get taken down, and he just decides to do a tactical suicide just to spawn up straight away. He managed to pick up the rail shortly, but at this point, no, dramiS needs to be on full aggro, predictability. Just literally just go straight in, or else that is going to be 2-1 for nosfa.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see kind of the progression throughout the series of nosfa, playing a little bit more crazy, looser, and then it's almost like he went to like a Quake correctional facility and he came out more disciplined, better decisions, more patient, and that's exactly what we're seeing as dramiS. Again, as you said, his hand is forced. He's got to start rocket jump. He's got to start cutting off. Big damage here. Does get a frag. Can he pull back this comeback? 4 frags in a minute 10. I don't know about that one, Lethal.
Yeah, I don't know about this. If he takes too much damage after each engagement, then yeah, I think it's going to be... Oh, that was a good first rail. It's going to dive straight on in, though. Hits the second one. Needs to try and clean this up if he can, and he has done. But once more, needs to try and recover from that last bounce. 50 seconds left. Still has a little bit of time, but needs to guide it now. No matter how predictable or how overzealous he's going to be, it needs to make it happen. But it looks like nosfa's just trying to get away. He misses the first rail, and this could be, again, another time for dramiS to try and claw his way back, but nosfa just doing what he should be doing, playing the defensive, just knowing, oh, the first row, he could go for the second, he is available, but picked up the health bubble. dramiS probably realises now at this stage, there's not really more he can do. But nice little comeback there from dramiS, just sadly just didn't have enough time.
Not enough time indeed, as that rocket against the wall will cut himself off, and dramiS got to be frustrated at the way that went. The chase looked good for a little bit, but nosfa able to take this one away. A 2-1. Caster's Curse, Lethal. I apologize deeply, but fantastic play from nosfa there. Throughout the series, getting progressively better and better, taking the set 2-1 over dramiS.
Well, you wanted a bloodbath and you got it, and that third map was definitely an indicator of that, especially 60% rail percentage there for nosfa. And you said it yourself, it really showed, and it honestly, it did on a number of occasions. I kind of feel like both players had a huge advantage in terms of stack, but when they both engaged, the one with the bigger stack came out much worse off, and it was just bizarre how we saw that time. It wasn't just once or twice, it was on numerous occasions we at least witnessed it. But I think it's more due to weapon selection as well, one having the LG, one having the rocket. So of course, if you're in the Thunderdome, as you call it, or in some choke point, then of course that's bound to happen at some stage. So both players looking very strong in terms of their combat skills, but yeah, it was just an absolute massacre, wasn't it? But that's what we like to see, especially this early on in the day.
Absolutely. I think nosfa kind of set the precedent for how that map was going to go. With this fight right here, on fire, hitting rails that he shouldn't be hitting, and just making it work, and it was just an incredible... Look at that! What do you do against that? You spike your mice into the ground, and you say, I quit this game. But just really well done. dramiS hung in there, almost had a bit of a comeback, but nosfa just too strong in the end. 2-1, again, Caster's Curse, that's probably on me. I owe that man a Pepsi. My apologies, dramiS. But that's the way it goes any given Saturday. As nosfa putting on a clinic, that defensive rocket to make sure that heavy doesn't go anywhere was absolutely glorious as well. So big shouts to nosfa. I mean, lightning in a bottle. That's exactly what we got. 8-6, a very close scoreline. Explosive, high flying, but nosfa, again, progressively throughout the set, each map got better decision making, more patient, picking the right weapons. I mean, sometimes when you don't have anything and you just want to hit rails all the time too, that's fair. I'm sure Kilson is shaking his head somewhere right now like, yeah, that works, just do that. And yeah, we saw that 61% there. Whether that was the reason he went through the finish line on top, I don't know, but shouts to nosfa 2-1 over dramiS this week.
The man was on fire for it, literally, and had to go 3 for 3 in order to try and bring that back. If that's not a morale boost, I don't know what is, but it was definitely a clear indicator of what we're going to see. And yeah, I'm surprised dramiS even managed to claw back some of the frags he did, like considering the way nosfa was playing. I think as soon as he hit that one engagement and managed to come off on top, he was like, yeah, I think I've got this.
Yeah, that was just an insane way to start, especially on Vale. So we take a look at the recap. Those are your map scores. And yeah, just that's everything I kind of wanted in a set. I mean, more keel, but again, it doesn't matter what I want, Lethal. But there it is. Map scores for you from set number 2, high flying action, and it's going to get even better as when we get back from this break, it's going to be Maxter versus Sparty. So we're going to go take a glass of water or whatever. I don't know. I'm going to try and find Nyx. She's probably just ruining my apartment. But we'll be right back after this with more Quake action.